Well, another candidate for office, Charlie Crist, was out on a Sunday show yesterday, and he is enjoying his newfound independence. Take a look at this.
Thanks.
There are parts of it I do support, and there are parts of it that I take issue with. That's the beauty of being an independent candidate. Had I been there, I would have voted against it. If I get elected, I'd like the opportunity to help fix it. Now, only an independent can look at this one bill and find parts of it that are good and parts of it that are bad. In many ways, I feel almost like an umpire calling balls and strikes.
I don't either. You know what? I'm an independent. I can maybe yes, maybe no.
Right.
All right, so is the Charlie Crist shtick gonna wear thin soon? Chris Cillizza joining us, of course, from Post.
I thought you were introducing me as Charlie Crist.
No, yes.
Take it.
You're not quite as tan.
Is similar.
It is.
That's right.
It is. Can this work for him?
I've said this repeatedly. I don't understand how he's getting away with what he's getting away with at this point. You know, Florida actually, a lot of state press corps have been decimated by the struggles of journalism. Florida actually has a very robust press corps. Adam Smith, a lot of people doing really good work down there. I just don't get it. Same-sex marriage, health care. He says one thing one minute, oil drilling. He says one minute, and literally changes position the next minute. And the sort of coup de grace for me is the who are you caucus with?
That's incredible.
And
that
the people of Florida. The people of Florida don't have a caucus. The last time I checked in the Senate, so it's either you're either a Republican or a Democrat. And that seems to me an important question. Now, will it get focused on? I think there's going to be more scrutiny. He's going to have to get more answers. My guess is there's going to be coverage of him trying to take both sides of all of these issues. It'll reach critical mass, and he's going to have to make some hard calls. But this is not a man, if you look back at his political career, who likes making hard calls. Charlie Crist wants to win with 99% of the vote. He doesn't want to win with 60% of the vote. It caught up with him. That's what happened in that Republican primary against Marco Rubio. Too much of that hedging. That's what he got.
If he has his lunches free, he can join us on Top Line anytime. We'll have that noon hour open in the Senate. I want to ask you about the results out of Alaska. We heard Joe Miller there a moment ago saying he still thinks there's operatives in the state that are trying to sink his campaign and swing this to Lisa Murkowski. National Republicans, obviously, they made the wrong bet here. Do you get the sense, though, that they're letting up a little bit?
I think what happened is they clearly thought Lisa Murkowski was going to win. They had tracking polling about a few days before that had her up 9. They thought she'd win by kind of mid-single digits. She doesn't win. Well, then Lisa Murkowski goes to them and says, I want you guys to come up here and make sure that everything is legal. Well, sure, they kind of feel obligated to do so because it is an incumbent retention committee, but how it looks is quite bad. You saw Joe Miller say, you know, I talked to John Cornyn, he told me he was pulling his people out. I mean, in reality, I think it's a very small group of people who are up there. The general counsel of the NRSC, maybe 1 or 2 other people. I still don't think it looks good for Lisa Murkowski one way or the other. You know, I think people say, well, there's so many absentee ballots out there. Sure, absolutely. But remember, in all of the ballots, the 92,000 that have been cast, which is, you know, 5 times as many as being counted now, he won 51-49. So she needs to upend that in a significant way. It doesn't mean it can't happen, but we're not talking about a few hundred votes here.
Right.
And just want to ask you one follow-up off of the other interview we had here. Brian Murphy running Maryland. Can you bottle what happened in Alaska and bring it to Maryland?
I mean, as someone who woke up on Wednesday morning, and I had somebody who didn't go to bed who works for me Wednesday morning who followed this all night and said, I must have misread that. It says Miller ahead of Murkowski. I do think that we have to be cautious of saying Bob Ehrlich is going to be the nominee. I also think, however, Sarah Palin's influence in Alaska in a small turnout primary, probably a little bit more powerful than Maryland. But I would say at this point in this cycle, political prognostication is a dangerous business that I'm not. I'd rather just let's see. It's going to happen September 14th.
Chris Cillizza, Post Politics, thanks for being there. I'm making plans to go to Amy Walter's rally. You should too. Twitter.com/McCline, Twitter.com/Amy Walter.